Government have been talking about this for quite a few months, actually. This has sort of been in the ether, and there is legislation going through Parliament at the moment. It seems unlikely to me that it would get through in time to stop stop these current strikes, but certainly going forward into next year, it might make a difference. So it would mean that certain sectors, transport, health, education, potentially, that are seen as actually completely key, would have to offer, by law, a minimum level of service. So there would have to be a certain number of trains running. There'd have to be a certain amount of the health service functioning normally, teachers teaching, etc. It's a grey area. We don't know the details, and we don't know how and when it will pass through Parliament. But clearly the government are desperate to get something through in law, because this does seem to be spiralling out of control, doesn't it? I mean, the number of public sector workers balloting to go on strike or going on strike, it seems like every day now going into winter, people are going to be striking, and the effect's going to be very, very serious.
To bring that sort of legislation in, to actually make it law, wouldn't that not require it going through the Commons? You can see, if there were a debate on this sort of thing, it polarising opinion across the political divide.
It will be very contentious, won't it? Because
where would Keir Starmer stand on that?
Particularly Labour, who've traditionally been, for the workers, supportive of the unions. Keir Starmer's trying to tread a very delicate line, isn't he? Wanting to say, we support people's right to strikes, but we don't want the strikes to happen. So whether this will get through and how far it can go are big unknowns at the moment, but the government are incredibly worried about the effect that these strikes are going to have. And so various cabinet departments have been meeting in the last week to coordinate, Transport Department, Health Department, Home Office, trying to work out what they can do in the meantime to mitigate. So things like bringing in the army. But again, this all takes time. So army people are now being trained to potentially drive fire engines, ambulances, etc. And things like with the health, Steve Barclay, the health secretary, has very firmly made it clear that this 19% for nurses is not going to happen. I think most people, although the public are very broadly supportive of the nurses, think that 19% probably is not affordable. But things to mitigate, like saying, OK, well, you can't get to see a GP, the health service is under huge strain, but pharmacists will be able to provide antibiotics for things like urinary tract infections. But again, that was something that was discussed by the previous Health Secretary, Therese Coffey, under Liz Truss. They looked at that. And then there was going to be opposition from GPs to that, and worries about resistance to antibiotics. So none of this stuff is easy, but yeah, we're facing a very difficult winter, aren't we?
Yeah,
well, apparently